And here we go, episode 13. How you doing today? And I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you. I hope that wherever you are is good for you, and I hope wherever you are is... Man, I'm totally messing it up. Let's try it again. Episode 13, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you, and I hope wherever you are good. I think that's right. And it is me, it's Paul Carpenter. This is an amazing episode. I'm super excited about this one. The gentleman that's about to come on is fascinatingly interesting, and I mean, not that anybody else isn't, but man, so many different projects, so many different things, so many different wants, and they're all positive, beautiful, absolute wants for change, and it is good, folks. So I'm waiting for Alejandro to come on. I'm going to see if I can't maybe get him to join. I'm going to send him an invite. I think I already tagged him, so it might not let me. Nope, not going to let me. All right. Okay, well, we're just going to wait and see what happens. But while we're doing that, let's do this. So I was just telling a story to my mom, because I call my mom every day. And you should too, or your dad, or whoever you have in your life that's alive, that's your family. You know, that good stuff. Anyways, I was talking about dreams, and I just watched this movie. I think I've mentioned this before, but I saw this movie called Gran Turismo, which is really based on the story of a guy who created a video game. Well, it's not really his story, but kind of his story. It's actually the story of a young kid, and it's based on a true story, which is like super blown away, amazing concept, but the story goes like this. There was a kid, there was a guy, let's start from the beginning. A guy 20 some odd years ago creates a video game called Gran Turismo, which is by all means the height and the pinnacle of being able to create a video game of race car driving. Now, when they did this, they wanted to literally use every single aspect of a car. Oh, wait, hold on. Alejandro here. Alejandro, you're here, but I cannot ask you on because it seems as though whatever you're using doesn't have a camera connected to it. So I think you might need to do this on your phone, because otherwise I'm not able to bring you on. Unless maybe you could try and ask to be a guest, but it's not allowing me to bring you on, unfortunately. And while you're doing that, I'll get back to the story. So this guy, he says, you know, I'm going to create the most amazing video game, and he literally uses every spec from the cars. So literally from like how, you know, the width of the tires, the width of the brakes, the brake pads. I mean, I'm talking every single aspect of every major car that has ever been invented and created, supercars, F1 car, name it. So this kid is hooked on this game and plays it all the time. His father, on the other hand, is like, hey, dude, you know, get with it, kid. You got to do something with your life. Stop playing these video games. He's like, no, Dad. You don't understand. I'm going to be a race car driver. Is that you're going to be a race car driver and play a video game? Crazy? Now, somewhere along the way, a marketing guys, he decides, hey, I'm going to go to the biggest companies there are. I'm going to tell them this marketing. He goes up to Nissan. He says, hey, I have this idea. I want to get kids who play video games to race real cars. And they go, that's not a bad idea. Might prove that this guy who created this game really knows what he's talking about. So true story, they go out and they do this big competition, and this kid wins the competition, and they go to a racing camp where they learn how to race the cars for real. And I don't want to give away the entire movie, but man, the story that he had in his head becomes a reality. Kid playing video games is now a race car driver for real in real life. And what that gets at me, for me, what that gets at is that don't kill anyone's dream, one. And then two, there is this, oh, look, I can bring you on now. There's this thing where you support somebody who has a wild, crazy mind. You should support that. Support that insanity. You know what I mean? Because it's powerful. These are the people that are powerful. The guy down here that's about to join in, Alejandro. There he is.
All right.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So good to see you, my friend. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Well, from my phone, and I have everything set up with my laptop over here.
If you want, just place your phone right on your laptop and just sit down there. Bam, we can do it that way. There you go.
Okay.
That works.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. So good to see you.
Where are you now?
I am in the outskirts of NYC.
So no longer Miami, now NYC. Alejandro Otero, please, if you would not mind, for the people who are watching, give me a brief on, before we get into all of the other projects and the metaverse and the piece and all the things that you're doing, because there's so many things. We're going to be here for a minute, I can tell. Give a brief bio. Who are you? Where you come from? Like your family, their connections in Puerto Rico, all the things that have been going on there, and then we can maybe blow up into how you believe that the cryptocurrency market is going to happen in Puerto Rico, and all the things that are happening there, and how you're involved in some way, shape, or form. So much. We have so much. So let's start there. Give me a bit of who you are, your bio, and we'll move.
Okay. Well, I'm an islander. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean. I've been traveling a lot. Most of my life. Activist, technologist. A promoter of space technology. I went early on to like Space Camp, Space Academy. If you ever heard of that or seen that movie, so that was a really good trajectory in back in the day to get familiar with what's going on right now, because everything's making sense right now based on that time period. And as an activist, I never liked calling myself an activist because, I studied engineering, I studied business, I got into political consulting. I guess that's where activism comes in. But, one of my major, aspects of success was galvanizing attention in Puerto Rico for the elimination of a naval base operations and munitions training ground in Vieques, which is part of the Roosevelt Road complex. And that's one of the largest out of the United States military bases. It's to protect ourselves against World War III, invasions stateside. So, politically, Puerto Rico has always been charged with that, asset. And activist-wise, though, the bombing range, which was using depleted uranium, was right in the middle of a wildlife, bird funnel from South and Central America. So we use that as a premise to activate and to eliminate the Navy from doing depleted bombing, range activations there.
Wow.
That is important because right now, throughout the space technology scene, we're open for business. Spaceport Puerto Rico. It's basically the galvanizing of all the communities, from North and South America, to deploy international launches rather than in Florida where you launch from NASA or California and something like that. We're going to be able to launch internationally on the ocean at the military base, Ceiba, and have amazing tropical viewing of the launches. A little bit different than what SpaceX is doing in Texas, right? So what started that road was, well, like we needed to finance it, and we needed to deal with the materials needed for habitating the moon. So back in the day, there was a lot of promotion of it, of cannabis. Cannabis is one of the top 10 plants needed for interplanetary development. So anything that we hear from Artemis and NASA and the moon and what are we doing in Mars and stuff like that, if we are to have people there, humans, and explore, then we need to bring cannabis in the masses, and grow it on the fields of Mars and the moon. And that's the actuality, and that's why we had to lobby for legalization of cannabis. So so yet again, I'm a permitologist, so I sometimes get weird permits to do, interesting events at interesting locations to create this impact. So I managed to gather with my coordination. This is early on. This is like 1999, when we were using the cyber culture to influence politics. Politicians hardly knew what to do with the internet. So we would create grassroots cybernet campaigns and back whoever we decided was for technology, for cannabis liberation, for the arts and dance. And so I got the permits for UN Plaza in San Francisco. I don't know if anybody's been to San Francisco. And we created 2001: The Space Odyssey, right? And so that's a play off like the Kubrick films and everything, and that was all about cannabis. And we leveraged the San Francisco government. At that time, there were only 15 legal clubs, to dispense cannabis for medical use in California. So me coming out of the blue with my permitology people, we all of a sudden got access to all 15 clubs, and we leveraged the San Francisco city because we were coming from the UN viewpoint, and we had what's called a global synchronized event. At that time, no one knew what a global synchronized event was. It's basically, instead of doing one event in one city where you have a bunch of people go and attend and you impact that one city, you unify with many producers, many talent, many organizations and governments in various cities, and you make it into one event which has a global impact or regional impacts. So we told San Francisco, yeah, we're doing this, and you're the center of like what is our other cities going to adopt. So they were all putting on their suits, the mayor and everything like that, the council people, and it's like listening to me running around giving directions and stuff like that. It was hilarious, it was absolutely hilarious. So that.
You gotta love that part. You gotta love that part. I can only imagine you and your hat with and you're like, you over here.
Oh yes.
You gotta love that part. I can only imagine you and your hat with you're like, you over here. Oh yes.
Yeah, because we would use the arts, we would use the arts to basically like promote things, right? Because art is sort of like the universal way of communicating and everything. And so you don't hear me? Wait, sorry. What happened here? You hear me better?
Yeah, whatever that was, it was reposting it twice, and so it was like starting to rumble.
Yeah, I have gremlins. I'm a zippy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Different than a hippie and different than a yippie, right? But we all connect, right? And so so that's a little bit of the activism and space technology and cannabis thing. Now cannabis is legal in New York City, right? So we're super excited to, after 20 years of lobbying and creating contingents and global synchronized events, and during that time, we also found out that there was an interesting law in New York that made dance illegal, and the cabaret laws. And so the cabaret laws would only allow ATF, approved clubs, to dance and to generate. And if you weren't approved and you were moving around a little bit, in a club, you could be shut down. And this was to control the speakeasies and the slavery of the day and all the people during that time. So it's like, how could Afghanistan and New York be the only places where dance is illegal? So we're promoting cannabis, and so we got together with a lot of different organizations, and we coupled the cannabis development and movement legalization with the dance legalization, movement. And I don't know, it takes a while to generate not only the attention, but then the mass adoption, and then the business economic ends. And, it's like some of us activists, we go through it all, and we bring it to the masses, and then we bring it to the economic fruition, and then you get all these billionaires, millionaires, and multi-conglomerates be like, oh yeah, we did this. So
I was just gonna say that's when they come in and they're like, oh, look at how we're so involved in helping everybody. You're like, bro, I've been doing this for like 20 years. What are you talking about?
I've never seen them in one rally.
Exactly. Right, exactly. So let's get into a couple things, because for me, this whole thing is about how other people inspire me and how I look at it, like, I don't look at like the things that you do, right? I look at the person and I'm like, whoa, like that's inspiring. Now, and I might get a little too deep here, but I met you in Miami, right? And we, the kind of life that I live is very close to the way that you live, in the sense that I'm not really caring so much about where I'm at, and more so about what I can do, right? And where I can affect and how I can affect as much as possible. And I watch your content. Like, I see your Discord and I see your Instagram, and I see, and it's like just a constant amount of interactions, a constant amount of people who are coming in and wanting to be part of the thing that you're creating. And that right there is the thing that I'm like, because there's other people would be like, I don't have money, and I don't have this, and I don't have that, and I might be homeless, or I might have this situation, or I might that situation, but none of that stops either you or me, right? In other words, like, I don't think about homelessness or where I'm going to get food or how I'm going to clothe myself. I mean, like, those things to me are like just natural occurrences that are just going to happen just by me being me, period. And I just walk through life in this magical manner. I do it with magic, but you do it in this gathering of communities and creating these like spectacular events. Like, you're doing events in the metaverse, which I would love for you to talk about. And so just that mindset that you're keeping, right? Because like I said, other people would falter, would be like, oh God, I'm so depressed because I don't have this, or I don't have that, or society tells me I'm supposed to hold on to this, and if I don't hold on to it, oh my God, everything's over. And you and I just don't hold there. And so I guess what I'd like, if you wouldn't mind, from here is kind of go into that. Maybe get into like, how do you travel and how do you survive? And granted, I know the answer. It's gonna be, I create communities. Those communities help me wherever I go. I know that's the answer, but and also get into how you created your metaverse and what you're trying to do there, and then also your peace project that you just recently kind of put out. If you wouldn't mind, let's go into those things. So. Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Wow, okay. So yeah, I appreciate the resonance and the understanding of, like, where we're at. Maybe we're a little more considered freer than some people, or I think it's maybe like an educational or learned thing of how to deal with situations and how to deal with other people, at the basic level. I mean, a lot of institutions teach this and that, but getting to the core of, like, person to person, and, like, the well-being of your fellow humans and everything. And yeah, understanding sustainability at a personal level, at a community level, at a regional level. So understanding, systems is important. And yeah, I developed.
Now, when you say understanding systems, because other people won't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you say that, like, to me and you, I understand what you mean by systems. It's like government organized organizations, churches, nonprofits. Those are what you mean when you say that. At least that's what I think you mean. So if that's what you mean, yes. And if not, please.
Yes, systems, those kind of systems, and basically how to work out, circular, sustainable, understandings. At a personal level, and always driving yourself to improve, in the many different aspects of life where you can. You don't have to stay in one thing, all your life. You can move around. There's plenty of time to learn many talents, learn many trades, and it takes people all different times. One of the things that has helped me over the years, I guess at a financial level, to be able to travel and go to different cities and mingle, is way back I used to be a tarot card reader. So there is a little bit of a magic involved with that. And when I started doing the tarot readings and spiritual counseling or life counseling or business counseling, because I had a background already in several things, which I think it empowered my ability to read the tarot and to understand spirituality. So any place I would go, I would mingle around, or set up a table, or ask people, hey, do you want a card reading? Hey, would you, how much do you charge? And for many years, I was just donation based. I was like, whatever you want to offer, I'm fine, with that. And people would give enough for me to get around, for me to because they would learn something from me, or they would understand.
I love it, dude. I love it, bro. It's, in my opinion, and I'm very wrong, but I really feel that it's like one of the most honest ways of being, because there's no like third person in between you and the interaction, or a party of some sort, like a business. In other words, I work at McDonald's, you came to the counter, I served you. You know what I mean? Like, there's none of that in between. That kind of disappears, and the only thing that's happening in between is communication of some sort, some kind of, I'm giving of myself, of what I have to offer the world. And for me, it's tarot card reading, and maybe you're the one who wants a tarot card reading, and I'm here and you're here, and you can throw me 20 bones. Bro, I'm getting breakfast and we're having a joint, like, things are good now. But no, I mean, and it's like, I have a friend of mine that I just recently helped move into a new home, and he has like 40 boxes and bags and bags of clothing, right? And all the clothing are super nice shirts and super this, that, and cool. And this guy's wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt every day. And he works, and he's like working hard work, sweating every day, hard. So it's like, why do you have all this clothes, man? Like, what is all this for? He's like, no, man, I just see it, I buy it, I put it in the thing, one day. And I'm like, you have so much crap, man. Like, you just hoard. You're hoarding things that you never even use. And he's like, yeah, you're right, man. He's like, you know what, bro? We're going to go through it. We're going to throw away a bunch of stuff. And I was like, I need a bunch of clothes. And jokingly, whatever, but he was like, no, yeah, of course. I think you take whatever you want. I don't care. Like he throws away clothes. He's one of these people, and I kind of like the mentality, right, on some level, which is like, look, I just want to like have what I want when I want it. I want to have autonomy in my life and get to choose to pick a t-shirt or a shirt or whatever I see on a wall and be like, I like that and I want that. And even if I never use it, it's not about that. It's about having the ability to say, that was something I liked. And I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to do this about it. I just went, okay, there it is in my backpack. If I want to use it, I will. If I don't, I won't. It's a billionaire's mindset, not a millionaire's mindset, but a billionaire's mindset. And why? Do I have to not work for my money? Yeah, you have to work for your money. Do you have to da-da-da-da? No, yeah, everything's there still. There's just a difference in the way that you spend the money. Like the difference between buying a hot dog on the side of the street and spending $25,000 with 5 friends at a very expensive restaurant. Man, you could have a better experience on the side of the street with a hot dog and spending only $2 with Elon Musk, who's like totally down to have street meat, And then at the same time, there might be like a group of people in your life that you did something amazingly well in your life. You made a lot of money and you wanted to invite those particular 5 people to join you for a meal that they may never have in their life, that you were able to share with them the types of meat and the wines and the golden leafed lamb, whatever. And it's not about the money. It's about the ability to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And then what happens, I think it's happened for you and me, is that you get to a place where you understand, like, oh, I don't even need the money anymore. I just need my mindset, and I need this one small particular trait. And it could be anything, literally anything, from tarot card reading to card tricks to just being able to connect guy A to guy B as a bridge of people. That nothing more than communication allows me to travel the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. And so that's where like, that's my inspiration from you. Like those kind of things where, oh, let me turn that off. So I'm supposed to be live. So okay, from there, what are you working on as of recently? What's going on now and happening in your world?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because like the billionaire reality, whether from the billionaire's perspective or from the masses perspective or the poor people's perspective, is a little skewed. I think we've turned it into something that it's not. If you're a billionaire, you could only spend a certain amount of money a day. Like there's no way to you could spend a lot, 20,000 a day or something, but at that point, you're just delegating energy to other people to spend things and to use money and to use resources. So it's not even you're spending yourself, And so if you're not directing that energy positively, you're limiting the amount of people in your circle that can benefit from you.
No. I was telling everybody who's watching, listen to what he's saying right now, because this is the ticket. Right, and it comes down to what you're saying, which is movement of energy. It has nothing to do with the money. Money is nothing more than a form of energy. And it's how do I understand it? Because if I don't understand what money is, I will never be able to accumulate it or use it. And if I do use it, I'll be using it incorrectly because I don't understand it. And so
I'm still learning. I'm really I'm not an expert at it, but I can accomplish things without money, by delegating out, because I resonate with what people's needs or wants are. and then help accelerate that. So that's a little bit of the concept of like triple bottom line economics, and other sort of like systems or economic understandings that really is empowering people.
Right.
Your social, like triple bottom line economics, and this is leading into the peace movement and what we've accomplished in the past years. There's in environmental currency, there's social currency, and there's cash. When you receive just a cash transaction.
Say that again, please, if you wouldn't mind.
There's a social currency, and environmental currency, and cash, right? It's if you just receive cash from something, you're only using a third of the full amount of the exchange, right? So you're limiting yourself by two thirds. You need to take in account what you're doing with the cash to improve the social equity and people's social lives, and that has to lead into something positive for the environment, to add quality of life. And these are the goals that everybody's talking about. Billionaires are trying to do this. They're not trying to do this because they could only use a certain amount of money a day. The rest is basically being like, it's in the air, it's non-existent. It's basically this construct of it transfers to that bank. It sucks up that energy and things like that. And we could see that a little bit more in the past 3 years with this whole crypto NFT kind of evolution. That really allowed people to see what the polarity is between poor and rich. What does it mean, social, environmental, and all these other things. And I think that's the real benefit of the crypto NFT, metaversal culture that has transpired, and how we can move forward, accelerating that. And I'm proof in like getting permits. When you do a permit analysis or a proposition to some sort of government agency, and you include, that I'm gonna gain you, 3 times the amount of cash, they put your proposal on the top of the pile, that usually takes a year, 2 years to review. They put it in and they fast track it for 3 months. So you save the time by thinking ahead and letting them know how you're maturing the proposal with the social equity and the environmental equity. Mm-hmm. And if you do that in a lot of different communities and a lot of different cities, and you do it in a global synchronized event, then you may not be a billionaire, but your crew is moving enough energy to be considered billionaires. So when you land somewhere, when you land in a new place, or you're heard about and stuff like that, that you have some insight, or you're gonna do what you did in New York or did somewhere else, all of a sudden, all these millionaires and billionaires that want to learn how to use this energy and this influence come to you. One way or another, sometimes secretly, sometimes they want to know, they send their agents to find out information. The government's doing that. It's like a whole drama, but that supports the event's impact. Is it a 5,000 person event? Are we doing a 50,000 person event? Are we doing a regional, a citywide event, and everything like that? So the Times Square Pause the World for Peace, which Paul Slotkis, great mentor, friend of mine for like 20 years. I've known his vision, and he's he's a positive role model for so many people. He's done like thousands, at least 5,000 interviews that I helped archive, digitize, for his website, wow, for all sorts of people and everything like that. So he was a great person to be able to isolate and showcase, and I was there a lot, and we brought people to support him, and the commissioners and the Brooklyn mayors and everybody from Brooklyn to Manhattan, Times Square Alliance. We're producing $1 million event, right? Which would cost any company at least $1 million for like a foothold in Times Square, to stamp approval, let alone synchronized with 200 other productions worldwide, right? And number of circles of influence all over, the planet for cannabis, dance, peace, space technology. And today's the 18th, right? Today we're celebrating a new SDG, right? Everybody knows sustainable development goals. There's SDG 1 through 17. They all mean something, anything like that. Well, this year we're debuting SDG 18. Okay, and that is the spacefaring civilization SDG. To allow private commercial civilian use of lunar Martian resources in the exploration of that, and how those resources are going to benefit Earth, because we can't do it sustainably on Earth. We need the resources on the moon. We destroyed already. Like everybody's saying, oh, we have 10 years. No, we have 3 years. It's destroyed. It's gone. Like we don't have enough helium-3, to maintain our medical system. We don't have enough manpower to plant trees every day, unless we did, billions of people planting trees.
We do, but we don't have the people who actually care about planting the trees. And I feel also that the dystopian future that we're about to head into, unfortunately, because so many people are comfortable, is only going to tear down. Did you just change your hat? Oh, okay, no, okay. It's cool. I like the purple on the front. Yeah, it's cool. No, I think that the people who are pushing for transhumanism and pushing for this future, trying to live forever conceptual idea that people are going for, they're going to stop caring so much about the resources and more about the ability to just get there. And they're going to try and do that as quickly as possible. So as this is depleting, they won't care because they're going to last forever, right? And that's the ultimate crux, is that they're not going to last forever because they're going into a world that's not real. But then again, what is real, what isn't real? We could get into a whole conversation about that. And I did that yesterday, which lasted forever. But yeah, I feel as though there's a lot of that going on right now, where a lot of people are unsure of what the future may be. Are we going to be the Borg, or are we going to be Star Trek? Of the Borg, or are we going to be like, the Enterprise, traveling from galaxy to galaxy and meeting these awesome new entities and traveling to new worlds? And is that going to happen, or are we going to turn into the Borg, where we're just a ship of genetically modified nano babies, that are floating around space, taking over whatever they can as the virus that we are here on Earth? On some level, right? On some level. And so, yeah. So let's get into, since we're on this conversation, let's talk about your events that you do in the metaverse. And then we can move into this last one that you're doing. I've already mentioned it a bit. You were talking about the Peace Project, but maybe you could talk about the actual dates that they're happening and how people can get involved. And then if you have anything that you want to talk about in general, anything that, like a subject or something that you feel empowered about, or something that's bothering you, or whatever you want, anything,
Cool.
But yeah.
Love it. No. Thank you. And yes, the virtual reality, the metaverse topic, and the Star Trek Borg role and stuff like that is that simulation. Like, what is that, and how we're evolving, how we're going to be integrating that technology to us. So far, like from the beginning of like the metaverse construct in this stage, right, which was, I think, only just about 3 years ago, with the implementation of the 8 universes of the Burning Man multiverse, which
I don't know this, so if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, sure. So like a few years ago, basically a lot of us in the VR communities and tech communities were realizing, and we were being brought together to create like an 8-universe, metaverse bridge with Burning Man, which just happened, and a lot of the different communities around the world. So there were 8 sort of themed universes in virtual reality created, and we used virtual reality tech to bridge those 8 universes and create what was the actual metaverse of now. And this was
So you're talking about like basically a 1-for-1 replica of what was happening in BlackRock at that camp was happening 1-for-1 in this metaverse project that you created. This world was basically that camp in that world. Is that what you're saying? Something to that effect?
No. That there were several. Basically, people would decide between which 8 universes they would set up camps at, and then communicate among the universes and develop their own universe of camps. And we're not doing we're not talking about like actual simulchronic, like real life simulations. It's virtual reality. Like we're not trying to recreate digital of the landscape. That's possible.
So yeah, I know it is, but that's why I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But what you're doing is you're creating your own, if you will, your own Burning Man during Burning Man for those who can't make it to Burning Man, but instead it's in the multiverse or the metaverse of whatever choosing. Within that metaverse of whatever choosing you have 8 worlds that those people can jump into those worlds, and then in that world they can create their own camp for people who are in any one of the 8 worlds to jump into any one of those 8 worlds and go to any one of those camps, basically.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And
that's just amazing.
And that brought a lot of people together, and we accelerated a lot of things. Now, in the past 3 years, it has evolved now to what it is now, and it's we call it spatial navigations, because not only can we just like pop the glasses on, but we could use the phone or the laptop to access these virtual worlds, right, which are connected to real people, places, and things. But what we're doing is we're creating what we did as I guess more like a branding corporate kind of like integration through this concept of the honey hive. Right,
explain what the honey hive is. Talk about the honey hive, because that's something that you do. That's one of your big channels. So
so I partnered with one of the multiverse developers, and we were running simulations and protocols and ways to interact, and we wanted to mimic ecological systems, so that they could relate to how we not only interpret the virtual reality, but how we affect real life while involved with it. So the honey hive is based on like the bee construct and cross-pollination. Everybody knows bees are one of the most important creatures on the planet, and then honey's great for so many different things. So it's the virtual honey, and the pollination of all these world flowers, right? The flowers of life around, and bringing them so that we could bridge distance and bridge people and places in a more sustainable way, B2B, business to business, so that we could curate talent and everything in this virtual space and eliminate, at least 50% of unnecessary production costs, whether it's done in real life or just Web 2 or hybrid or Web 3. So I wanted to distinguish like there's Web 2, Web 3, Web 4. So where most people are at now is understanding that there's Web 3, which allows to create blockchain interactions and crypto interactions from Web 2, which is just broadcast. Like we're doing a broadcast right now. But as soon as we get this this Web 2 thing, we can integrate it into Web 3 and not only monetize it, but develop it further, right? And that's available for everyone. Now, Web 3 has been hyped up, and people that have been in it since the beginning know that, a lot of people from Web 2 and big companies, they wanted to play the hype game, the marketing game, but that's not what Web 3 is about. But so now it's like 8 out of 10 people or companies that you're involved with are not so, ethical.
Well, it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing that happened with cryptocurrency, right? When Bitcoin came out, nobody believed in it. And then once there was a small adoption, 2009, 2010, and that adoption happened, and that price increase went to like 14,000, way before it hit that 60,000 mark 2 years later. And once the corporate people saw that there was even close to 1% of people that were willing to jump into it, they were like, oh no, what is this? And we got to start going to these conventions, and we got to start saying, well, who's this and what's that? And we got to create our own, this, that, and the other. And we have to create our own token, our own this, our own that. And then all the, celebrities jump in. Oh, I've got my own NFT, and Snoop Dogg and this, that, and the other. And of course, man, they see the money, they run towards it. And what it comes down to, I think, is, there's a statement that says that if everybody in the world were to be given $1 million each, right? Because everybody's always like, oh, if we all had the money, we'd all be okay. They say that if everybody was given the exact same amount of money, the people who have the most money today will have the most money again in 6 months. And why? It's because they understand how to take your money from you. And they understand how to take that money and make more money. Whereas most people only understand working to pay bills to hopefully save enough to maybe go on vacation.
Yeah.
And so it's two different mindsets. It's very much Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, right? So if you haven't read that book, please read that book. But people who are watching, it just in the first story alone, if your mind isn't blown with when he meets his rich dad and he starts working for him, if that story alone doesn't break your mind, most other ones won't. So, and it's also like Think and Grow Rich, or How to Win Friends and Influence People, or any of the books that are out there that say, hey, you have an idea and it's in your gut, go, 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 go. Don't worry about anything else. Have faith that you're going to be taken care of. Have faith that you're going to be able to make it happen. Have faith that because there's a difference between, I heard this from Reverend T.D. Jakes. I don't know if you ever heard of him or seen him, but he's great. He says, hope only allows you to walk across the fire. Faith allows you to leap across it. And it's like such a heavy, and truism of life. And I had this conversation yesterday when we went 3 hours long and everything. And at one point, that's where kind of we ended in the, is God real? Is God not real kind of thing? And I was like, look, man, the best I can explain is that I'm in a dualistic world that is and is not, that has some kind of heaviness to it, but also has no heaviness to it whatsoever. Yet this heaviness that has no heaviness is very heavy, And so and yet this stuff that is supposedly real, when I scientifically look at it, 99.9% of it's not there. And so it's like I'm seeing it for what it is, not for anything else. And so, or at least I'm trying not to, right? And I'm trying to be as open to having anyone come in and be like, nah, bro, I think you're kind of wrong here, But even a guy who's agnostic yesterday, a couple of times was like, eesh, that's you kind of got me there, you know, like at the end, he's like, I'm going to agree to disagree with you on a lot of these things, but I love that we're able to have the conversation. And I think that that's also something else that I want this to be, right? Mm-hmm. And I've said this before as well, that I have conversations with people that I haven't seen in a while or that I haven't talked to in a while. And then somewhere along the conversation, and I'm sure this has happened to you many times before, you go, God, I wish I would have recorded this conversation. You know what I mean? Because they're so good. They're so powerful and filled with so much information that it's like, oh man, I need to share these because this is good stuff. Like, it's not just, hey, did you hear about the Kardashians and what's going on with Will Smith and how he slapped the guy across the face? You know, that quote that says, small minds talk about people. I don't remember the second type of minds talk about things, and great minds talk about ideas. And I think that that's a truism of life, right? It's not about the people. It's not about the things. It really is about the idea. It's about the imagination. You know what I mean? So with that, what is your new thing that you're doing? What's the new project? Like, I know you talked about this peace project, but when is the date? Is it one of these worldwide? Is it one of the worldwide projects type of thing where you want to do it all over the world at the same time? And go ahead.
Yes. And that what you talked about, right? It's like the essence of the Web3 to Web4, you know, global technological makeover. You know, Web3, like the polarity, just with the numbers, right? Web2, duality, understanding that. Web3, creator economy, pyramid, you know, the hierarchies of exchange and collaboration, not just one-to-one, but one in the community, you know, the triple bottom line. It's not just about the cash. It's about the cash, the social, the environment. But the thing is, the Web3 somewhat gets co-opted and lost in meaning, and it was like very temporary. So that's why Web4 is being implemented, to get a grip and a handle and be able to manage Web3 in the more quality sense and multi-planetary sense. It's not just Earth-based. It's what are we going to do with all this infinite resources that now we're able to bring down to Earth. So launching these concepts out of New York, out of Times Square, with the permits for Duffy's Square, right in Times Square. We're doing the first battery tour, solar-powered stage. We have Marianne Williamson. We have global leaders in meditation, different influencers, you know, coordinating there. I mean, it's a climate change week. I could go on and on. What's the New York thing that's happening now?
What are the dates of that, and how do I get involved?
Yes, September 21st, United Nations International Day of Peace. Right? We're calling it Peace Day. It's part of the Peace Day party. So we're inclusive, and we're asking all flavors of people to bring their discussion, bring their performance, bring their you know, supportive agendas. We're going to have flash dancing, you know, flash mobbing, flash dances, pro women life freedom, pro all these concepts, you know, to improve the quality of life here on Earth, debuting and networking with SDG, you know, and the Web4 construct, and pause the world for peace. You know, we need a pause so that we could, you know, reflect on where we're at and bring these new, you know, resources and tangents, and acknowledge, like, we use the spatial navigations to get from one destination to another. So either conceptually or physically. And that's how we have the Honey Hive operation. Like, if you want to go to like I'm in New York and I want to go to Miami, I could go to the regular route by bus, train, or whatever, or I could integrate with the Honey Hive, find out, you know, the destination landing, the spawn point in Miami, because this is like the gamified world. Everybody's used to the games, the video games, you know, the younger children learn and interact with that better. So where's the spawn point in Miami that is is balanced with my present situation, state of mind, resources. How is that spawn point going to accelerate my enjoyment of Miami? Because the world is a big place, and if you don't have your coordination well, you might get lost. So the Honey Hive provides that that support and navigation and uplifting. Yeah.
So what you're saying basically is like, hey, I'm in New York, and let's just say, or I'm in New Orleans, and I really want to connect with, like I'm leaving New Orleans or whatever it is, and I'm going to a new city, and before I get to that city, I want to find, if you will, the resounding chamber that fits my ideas and goals and things. And oh, look, here's the Honey Hive, and here's Honey Hive New York, and here's a group of people and I can write in there and be like, hey guys, I'm coming to New York, and I'm a hypnotist, and I want to do a free show for hypnosis for anybody who wants it. Where can I go, and who can I connect with? And then there's like 10 people. Oh my God, that's perfect. I can actually pay you. Wait, you can come here. Like that kind of thing is what you mean by that.
Exactly, and the thing is, not just at a personal level, but our partnership with Our Room, AU Room, Gold Room LLC, allows us to create that business to business experience and hospitality for people integrating that want to not just bring their family and friends, but want to bring their entire business, employees, enterprise into the virtual acceleration. And we've also partnered, to basically understand, to work with people from different mindsets, legal, which is also very important mindset, to understand legalities wherever you go, virtually, in real life. We've been partnering with Legal Shield to implement, legal understandings in each spawn point, so that you could come, totally, understanding and supported and protected by a legal ecosystem, so that, that's part of the gamification and the learning. I mean, legal is learning. It's conversation, bringing back not what legal has become, but what legal is or should be for the community. I think is what we're trying to do with the virtual reality and Legal Shield integration. Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, explain Legal Shield. Are they like an NFT company? Are they like in the Web3 kind of business, and that's how they got created? Or is it a Web2 business? A lot of people might not. Once again, when we say these things, I hope they understand what we mean. And so, let's break it down again, just for those who might have just joined or who don't understand. So Web 2 is basically internet that we have prior. It's internet relay chat rooms. It's prior to the corporations coming in. It's what you might call the dark web today. Then Web 3 is where you have Facebooks and internet, and it's easier for you to post your information without having to know how to code things. Am I right? That's Web 2, then Web 3. Then you have this Web 4, which is, and I might be confusing the numbers here, but the Web 4 is all these other implementations that have been created. And I thought that Web 5 is what you're talking about, which is this, like Web 3 would have been considered the Internet of Things, where everything was going to have internet in it, i.e. my phone's connected to the internet, my refrigerator, my this, my that, my the other is all connected to the internet. Amazon's connected to that, and it can tell when I'm running out of milk, and it'll order the milk and have it delivered to my house before I run out of milk, and that way I always have milk. That is Web 3. Am I wrong, or is that Web 4?
There's a little, the jargon is a little depending on who you talk, because Web 4 is not necessarily Industry 4. Okay, Web 4 is more web-based architecture and interconnectivity, while Industry 4 is like the fourth industrial revolution that you hear, like the blockchain elite people talk about and everything like that. It's important. It establishes a foundation, but we don't want to create robots out of people. Right, and that's the problem with just Industry 4. Web 4, we're creating a foundation, an industry, but we're connecting it with other ecosystems of interaction, AI, the legal shield, working groups and teams and empowerment to learn about how to deal with Web 2, Web 3, and all the NFTs is not official yet within the legal shield architecture, and it's basically the largest group of legal ecosystems, as
So
one bubble.
So now my question is, for those who are wondering, how did you get connected to them? And did you just go up to them and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's this Honey Hive project. I've got all these people in all these different places, and we need legal who wants to help us, and we want your sponsorship. And they were like, oh my God, yes? Or how did that happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, over the years, I know a lot of different organizations, and I've known people that are activists and stuff that are focalizing on their legal issues and problem solving and solutions. Legal Shield has been around since the 60s. I'm understanding it, more and more, but some may consider it, part of different levels, multi-level, because like crypto and like NFTs and like virtual reality, you have to pass certain educational, milestones to get to another level, or to get those coins that, monetized, from the blockchain, which is,
And you're saying,
the security.
and you're saying LegalZoom has been doing that kind of behavior since the 60s. As you help out.
Yes. Legal support.
Right.
Now, we're interfacing with them and some of the people that have been part of the Legal Shield ecosystem for 20-some years, and we're basically ping-ponging with them. Okay, legal this, right? But then what about NFT legality? How do we, send us the people that want to know about NFT legalities? We'll talk it over. What about crypto? What about SDG 18? Space technology legality. Space law is a huge new thing coming into the corporate structure. So we're going to be in the forefront of involving space law and Legal Shield, as like crossover, community endeavors. And this is part of this piece, Pause the World for Peace, September 21st, global meditation. It's also announcing the Earth Dance festivities going on around the planet, and we're going to be live streaming that into the metaverse and Web 2 and Web 3, and hope to see you there. Hope that you're connected, and we'll be sending links to some of our world spaces.
Yeah, of course.
We're not limited to spatial navigations, because there's other virtual constructs that we're working with, depending on specific use cases.
When you say spatial, are you speaking about the website Spatial itself, in which you can build a world in that world, and then you can connect worlds inside of that?
Yes, it's one of the three main. Now that when we first had the 8 universes and all that, we had Altspace, which is Microsoft, and Roblox and Fortnite are all like virtual constructs, but they're different demographics. Fortnite and Roblox. When Altspace had its sunsetting, Microsoft shut that thing. Spatial, which we were on the beta team, we did crossover promotions and educational and team building and stuff. We absorbed the Altspace communities. So Spatial became the third most influential virtual construct that exists for our age group. Roblox is younger generation, Fortnite game. Spatial, we're tiering it to business, to creator economy, to talent, to be able to throw dance parties in virtual space. So you could get your avatar and you could have dance competitions and make money in virtual reality while you're at the real festival, and connecting with someone else in one of the other 100, city locations. The only reason we're able to do this in the Web 4 leading to Web 5, which is more like the navigations and the space, and being able to filter non-appropriate Web 3 and Web 2 systems. Like in Web 4, like if that media agency or that government department is not serving the greater ethical concerns of the population and its goals to futurism, then with Web 4, we're able to eliminate that Web 3 system and just eliminate it out of the circle, not be involved with it. You know, sure, it's going to do its thing on planet Earth and cause deserts and flooding and earthquakes, but that's why we're using navigation so that we know all the safe zones. You know, where are the safe spots to land and everything. So we eliminate the Web 3 and the Web 4s that are not served, don't serve us our greater purpose, and we align with the global community of people that do want to.
Right. Okay. So I guess we're at the point. Do you have anything that you want to express or talk about that is not based on something that you're promoting? Like anything?
Like a concept? Like
No. I mean, I don't know. Like yesterday or the day before, I saw something like Mexico just admitted that they've had a alien, a mummified alien for over 1,000 years.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I love aliens. I mean, I think we're an alien. We're all going to be aliens. Soon enough. I mean, I love the metaphors of the psychology and I'm a part of it. That's how I'm a part of it in various different ways. But back in the day when we were using Web 2 to organize political campaigns or activists and stuff like that, sometimes we theme out our communications as if aliens were landing and, which aliens and what are they doing? And that was just simply the way we referred to different activist groups or coordinations that did different things and whatever and had different ways of expressing themselves. So for like at least 10 years, people would see me post things like, oh, well, there's going to be a landing and a Stargate, and we're going to have some like underwater, people from this planet come aboard and stuff like that. And that was how you organize a 10,000 person event, open source, so people could follow it, but to not give away all the details or what's going on. So every single alien conspiracy and stuff like that is actually a strategically planned regional coordination of humans interacting with computers to promote some sort of like coordination. I mean, that was the thing. We were using at one time in terms of street team development, like war game scenarios, but we found it was a little too violent for to really like. We would get a stack of 2,000 flyers, and like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna like cluster bomb that region with the flyers, or are we gonna send some some micro nukes, which meant we were gonna like have like 5 team members, do a whole campaign of the area, or they're ninjas. It was fun. It was gamified.
Right, gamifying before gamifying in some way, right?
LARPing. Remember, live action role playing.
Yeah. like the movie, The Game, with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Like that. There's a company that actually does that, and they're very, very high end and cost a ton of money to be part of their thing, and it's very cool. It's very much like the movie. Only rich people do it when they get bored because they've done everything else.
Yeah.
So
I'm not promoting as much as let's get people involved. We want new energy. Like, what ideas can we cultivate and diversify with you? That's why I'm going on an interview. Usually I'm behind the scenes. I'm not on stage unless I'm announcing stuff or fixing some problem or doing something. But I decided, hey, let me do a little like character, integration in the real world, and see who resonates, and join the honey hive. Join the peace party. Let's dance, or let's do the Earth dance, and have that world space party so that we could habitate the moon and Mars for Earth benefit. There we go.
That's amazing. Amazing. So lastly, how do people find you? What are your social medias? Give me all your info. I'll throw it all at me. Go ahead.
Okay, so on IG, I'm Star Horizon. On LinkedIn, I'm Zen Alejandro. I have a Facebook, which my Facebook is just like a node conduit kind of thing. So, but it's under my name, Alejandro M. Otero, and then it's Star Horizon Takes You Places, and that's kind of like the brand. And then on LinkedIn, you could look under Project Honey Hive, and that's how you could join the Honey Hive, amplify your resources globally, and then.
Do you have a Discord or Telegram? Do you have any of those or?
And now I've been personally minimizing my my data linking so that I don't have to be so web constant. I need to elaborate other aspects of my life at the moment. So I'm wellness. I'm doing the wellness thing. If anybody has cool places in New York, cool dance parties, so I could dance, ecstatic dance, or fitness. I want to get a little pumped up. I want to scuba dive.
I'll connect you to I don't know if you know Eric. He does the Free Hugs campaign in New York and Times Square. He does.
Nice. Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody from those campaigns.
So that's also Matthew Silver and all that crew. And they have like a show that happens once a week. You could be part of that show. I know Eric still does what's called Occupus, which was when Occupy New York happened. Those same people ended up having an apartment, and then that apartment just closed a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They just had the closing party. But I know that he's still very heavily involved in doing the it was Arc 29 or something like that is what it was called. It was in upstate.
Up on Armenia, New York. Yes, yeah. Let me just interact. Like over the years, like this peace party or the cannabis parade and stuff like that. It's sometimes you're on a focus group, and you tell people it's like, yeah, man, I'm not the founder of the Million Marijuana March, right? But I'm like, if there was a council around the founders and I was a strategist and stuff like that, I have a certain responsibility, to bring together the different people and stuff like that. So sometimes, over the years, I can be perceived a little bit of like hardliner, like, because I have to deal with security, permitology, where other like talent organizations don't really get that fine line, thing. And so if I was ever a little like antagonistic about a certain event that I was doing and stuff like that, it's because I probably was at a high enough level that it was really important that people listen to me. And if they didn't, in council, because I was part of Occupy, and we brought in all our teams, and we mingled with like so many people to accelerate things. So I want to apologize first, if I ever rubbed people a little bit wrong.
That's okay. We all do it.
But hugs for everyone, and I've I've been in the Miami tropical area. One of the premises of me being there before COVID was to bridge New York City and Miami in a perpetual Star Horizon Circus Festival, so that kind of like the Dead Tour, where people would be like, "Oh, I'm going to go on Dead Tour. Where are you going?" Well, I don't know. It's the Dead Tour.
It's wherever they go.
Yeah. So we had created, and we still now to this day we have a whole like lineup of city kind of East Coast destinations. We with the virtual reality, we want a permanent tour route, so that I'm going to go on on the Star Horizon tour, or the Free Hugs tour, or the the tropical tour. And there are the spawn points from New York to Florida, and Armenia, the Hugs group, the Galinda and the Unicorn and the Junction crew and the Sound Garden, Sonic Garden. we're open for business in a way. Like Miami's open for this new business. Puerto Rico also. Miami, Puerto Rico, very sister city-like. There's almost no difference. There's coconuts there, and you get the coconut island culture. You know, in New York is New York. So those two regions are now bridged and full on. Welcome everyone. We're cross-pollinating the East Coast and making it, you know, the livable place that it should be.
Right. Cool. Okay. Well, anything else you want to talk about or tell anybody about?
I don't know. Much love to my daughter, which is an sense of inspiration. You know, for me, she's been running around with me, going to meetings all the time, so people know her from all. And now she's doing dragon staff, fire dancing, and doing some backflips. So I'm trying to, you know, keep her going with her interest in the arts and the community building. And she's like the Star Horizon little one, you know, for the next generation. So, you know, bless everyone.
I will definitely connect you to Eric and that whole crew, because that's what they do, you know, flow arts and part of like being, you know, everything that you're trying to create, and they would absolutely adore you.
Please have them. You know, it's this whole week is super huge and stuff like that. So I'm going to send you the flyer for the Pause the World. If anything, it's like those 5 hours at Times Square. You know, everybody's doing so many things the week before, the week after. Let's make that like a reunion center. Bring your flash mobs, bring your, you know, dressed out, bring your free hugs to Times Square, September 21st from 12 to 5. Let's have a global ripple effect of reuniting, you know, the conscious community, the spiritual community.
Positive love and energy, man. We need it. We all need it right now.
We need that. So let's make that a vortex this year, because it's been a while in the making. You know, we're all over. We're trying to all get over this like 4 years of COVID mayhem and try to gain new ground on our inspiring points. And we hope this event can really lead to a lot of constructive relationships, you know, upcoming. So please.
So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. I'm super stoked we did this, and I'm very happy.
Dude, when I saw you, when I first like was meeting you and you reached out, I was like, perfect. You know, I know it's going to take a little while because it's not so speedy, some of the things and visions that I have, but I knew you were aligned and you were there. You know, you were pushing forward, and you made so much impact that time that I met you in Miami that it really affected a lot of Miami for the positive. You know, more than you understand and everything like that, because I had been there a couple years before maybe, and yeah, you definitely excelled in bringing a lot of community together. Thank you again.
I love you, man. I do what I can, and like I said, I'll do it again here with Eric and the whole crew. And I said, as soon as they meet you, you're gonna snap right into that crew. I promise. So with that, I'll remove you from the thing. I'll end the feed, and this will get reposted on my social medias. It'll be on YouTube /Paul David Carpenter. So the whole entire thing, everything that we just did, will be there. So with that, thank you again. And I'll see you later.
Yeah, man. Okay,
bless. And good luck with everything that's happening on the 21st. And I'll post it, and I hope that everybody watches this.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll repost it as well. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bless.
Hello, brother. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to turn it off. It won't turn off.
We're so Web 2, old school.
Right. All right, man. I'll see you later. Whoa. Oh, my God. Did I not say it was going to be amazing? Did I not say today's episode was not going to be amazing? So, if that's not enough for you to have a reason to get involved in some way, shape, and form for the 21st, I don't know what else I could do for you. Get in touch with Alejandro. Get in touch with the Honey Hive. Talk your ideas. Get it into the motion. And you never know, maybe in your own town, you can do a little peace festival and you can broadcast. Maybe you can, if you're in New York, you could get to this thing and see it and get connected to it and meet the people. Maybe you could meet Alejandro. That's what this is about. So, my friends, thank you so very, very, very much for coming and watching. Please, if you would not mind, go out to the world and do something nice for somebody else. It does start with you. Please, number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff in this world, because if you do, you end up a little poopy. And number 3, if you would not mind, please, 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 like, share, subscribe, send this out to somebody who'd love to see it. And with that, my friends, I love you all, and I will see you all on the other side.